wife was Jewish. I was raised Mormon. Like, I've been all over the map.
Yeah, man.
So anybody who was talking God or Christ, I was like, man, I'm not hearing it. But that moment allowed me to, in that audit, wipe the slate clean and be like, okay, I clearly don't have this figured out.
Yeah.
So I need to be open to considering some new thought processes, some new ideologies. And shortly thereafter, I had actually been at a conference where Keith Craft spoke. Mm-hmm. And that was the first voice that really hit me in some ideologies and whatnot. That was like, this guy's got it figured out.
Yeah.
And had it been any other point in my life, I wouldn't have listened to it. And Scott Unklebach had been mentoring me a little bit prior to that and took me to that conference.
Okay.
Pulled me to that conference, we'll say.
Okay.
And I got involved. It was network marketing, which what drew me was tribe aspect of it,
business opportunity. Yeah.
But what kept me was the relationships and the tribe and a lot of things developing over time.
Yeah.
And that was the hook that ultimately pulled me here. I packed everything and moved sight unseen and rented a house off Craigslist in Nashville at a truck stop at 2 a.m. It's like, I hope it's there.
Yeah.
Here's my deposit. And been at Elevate for 10 years now.
That's awesome.
10 years. And been dating Mighty Men, not the men, but the platform there, since it was a dozen guys at Rudy's. But I very much been like, dip my toe in out. About all this. Like, you guys are a little vulnerable for me, right? So I had a process I was walking at the time, and I've walked through it. Now, like, Mighty Men is a staple of my life. I travel around it. So it was a hook then that allowed God to really work on me and process, and for me to give my life to God in 2019. Josh baptized me, Josh Craft, and I haven't looked back since. Right, I've been very obedient, very surrendering, and that's ultimately what led to you meeting me in Mighty Men, right?
Yeah.
So, that's a long answer to your question.
I love that, though, because our story is so important for us to recognize the moments when God's had His hand on our life, for one, but also nothing makes sense looking forward, but the dots always connect looking backwards, right? And so what I picked up from this is that tribe, community, like having purpose, meaning from either the Marine Corps or the SWAT has always been very important to you, because I found this is that a lot of men that were raised without a strong father figure, we search that, we seek that, like we need that. Men need tribe. And so you had this desire in your heart, but you're like, each tribe you're a part of was not completely congruent. There's like aspects that were missing, maybe not driving in the perfect direction, but you gain skill sets at each one that allow you to be where you are now. And what I love about, I think of this as, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And so you were at this point of humility because life humbled you, and life will humble everybody at some point. And it's typically in the pit. There's another great saying that there's no atheist in a foxhole, right? So you're taking bullet fire, and you're in the foxhole, and you're going to reach out for somebody. You're going to reach out for God. It's like, God, please help me. And so you're in this pit, and the pit becomes the moment where you start seeing a greater perspective. And then Scott Unklebach, who is Garrett Unklebach's father, and Keith Craft, Pastor Keith Craft, is the pastor of the church. They are best friends. They've been best friends for 40-something years. They've been doing life together, built Elevate Life Church, built this Mighty Men movement that you guys have heard me talking about. But it's every Saturday morning, 300 men strong show up, put God first. We fellowship, and it's a group of Christians that are not like any other Christians you're going to meet across the country. That's like the coolest thing about it. And I'm very new to the cross. And when I was, I've been on a very similar, I think, spiritual path as you. Was like, honestly, I understand there might be something else out there, but it's not for me. Right. Like, it's not for me. But it took relationship, and it took good men that are doing life the right way. Faith, fitness, family, finances. Our pastor, for example, he's 60-something years old, 20-inch biceps, like just jacked. And it's like, okay, I can respect that guy because clearly he's following something that is very meaningful to me, which is also fitness. Yeah. And I think a lot of the Christians that you meet, standard American Christian is out of shape, not bold, is like hiding, is passive, is the type of guy that's like, if your faith is creating those fruits in your life, I want nothing to do with it. And so the segment that we have here at Elevate is powerful because it's literally 300 dudes that are just on fire for God, but are running businesses, operating them like gangsters, like making money, great relationships, phenomenal impact on their kids, and creating transformational change inside the community. So that's a little plug for Elevate, but I love it, man, because what I think is so neat is that when good, powerful, strong men take the lessons, learning, suffering, and struggle from their past and all those skill sets and then put it under the umbrella of the Lord, it turns into a whole nother area. And so, you think about where your life has been. Let me ask you this, though. Since 2019, has your life gotten easier?
No, yes and no.
Okay.
It's different hards.
Yeah.
Right? So, no, it hasn't gotten easier
because you've scaled in business.
Right.
You've gone through massive transformation.
Right.
Yeah.
And you have to do the harder things. You make the harder choices, right? Following God's not an easy thing.
Yeah. So
definitely has gotten harder, but by doing so, a lot of other things have gotten easier.
Yeah.
Right. So, it's a flip, because if you choose to do life the easy way, it's going to be hard.
For
right?
sure.
If you choose to do it hard, there's a lot of things going to be easy.
Yeah.
So, catch 22 a little bit. But
yeah.
No, it's the decisions and walk of life has been much harder.
Uh-huh.
But the carrying it out and the fruit of it has come
probably more fulfilling.
Yeah, more fulfilling, swifter at times, and in an easier way to digest and discern, for sure.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes the hardest thing to do in life, is to make a decision.
Yeah. For
a lot of people, even go-getters and hard chargers like us, like, sometimes the decision's hard to make.
Yeah.
But we got to make it. But when you're walking this life, it's easy.
Yeah.
Decisions are easy to make, and the discernment's easy. It's like, oh, that's not from God.
Yeah.
That's fear-based. That's not from God. We're going this way.
Yeah, so it gives you a rule book and a blueprint. Yeah, I love that. I think probably the coolest thing too is, you had a tribe with the military. You had a tribe with the SWAT team. What I love about our tribe is there is deep, meaningful fellowship and intimacy. And so, like, so many guys are suffering. They're struggling. They're isolated. They're alone, just like you were. And there's not a dude that will literally show up at your house, check in on you, and be there, open, honest, vulnerable. Like, I've shed tears with you. You've shed tears with me. Like, we've walked through seasons in a short amount of time knowing each other, because there's this level of a vulnerability-based trust that really allows friendship and fellowship to develop, which is so powerful. And so I think the missing piece, where so many guys will find aspects of tribe, the piece that's really missing is that open, honest, transparent, vulnerable, intimate between two men, where it's like, listen, I know that my life is not about me. God is a source, and I can, like, let down the burden, the mass I've been carrying for so long.
No, 100%. I mean, in the Marine Corps and law enforcement and SWAT and all these different rooms and all these different environments, you have the tribe. It's like, hey, left and right, blood's thicker than water, all those conversations.
Sure.
But, hey, how's your marriage doing? I got that. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
She's lost her mind, whatever, right?
Sure.
It's always ego-driven responses, and there's no vulnerability, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's all toughness.
What's up, y'all? If you are a man struggling in his faith, fitness, family, or in finances, and you want to create breakthroughs and create followable excellence in your life, join Josh and I in our free High Value Man community and get access to the 6V formula, as well as the Relationship Mastery course by Mr. Josh. Click the link, join the free community of the High Value Man movements so that you can become the example worth following. Lead in your faith, fitness, family, and finances. Just click the link and join the free tribe.